First, we're going to see what is shifting, and let me represent this function. So, function of x t is x equal to 2 times x. Okay, and the interval is actually -1 x, and then we got 1 there. This is how you can represent this equation. I will show later on how I was able to find this. It's actually starting point and then the ending point. You can see this is where we have our starting point, then ending point in terms of x. That's why you see we pick up 1 and then we pick up -1. So it's actually between those 2 points in terms of x. That's what you see there. Okay, and then in order to know this, if you plug -1, if I say if x equal to -1, what will be, we're going to plug it into this function. So this is our function of x. So if I plug at -1, so it will be f of -1 equal to 2 times -1, which will give me -2. Okay, and then we got ourselves this, if x equal to 1, so it will be f of 1, which will be equal to 2 times 1, and then the answer to this. So this is how we are able to find, and what you should know is fx is actually y, so fx equal to y. So you're going to place it into y, so meaning this is where you're going to find it. Okay, so if you at -1, we should have -2. That's what you see here. So at if x equal -1, I could even represent this too. So we find that if, so this is where we have actually our y. So the first point, when we plug x equal to -1, so x for the first one, and then y. So we find -1. If you plug -1, your answer will be -2. Okay, and then if you plug at x2, this is another point. Okay, if you plug 1, you will get 2 at that point. So this is how we are able to know. So this is the second point, and then this is the first point. So that's why you see we have P1 and P2. Okay, and that's why we are able to represent them in terms of x and y. So this is gonna be x2 and then y2. At this point, this is where we have y equal to 2. We can even do it graphically without calculation, and then here we got 1. Okay, we can see this is the same as what we got at P2, and then if you go with that point P1 is actually, just to give you some proof, it's actually -2. So you got -2 for y, and then -1 for x. This is where we have P2, and then you can see it's the same as what we had at P1, if I may correct myself. So this is what I was trying to show you, how we're able to identify before we go to shifting, because shifting, it should be moving those points in terms of x. So y is not gonna change, so shifting in times domain. So shifting is only applicable to times domain. So you could say times domain, but in our case, we're not working with t, so we can say just x domain for now, because you're gonna see some example. Instead of writing x, they will put t. Okay, so this is how you can get, but if you have to get this equation that I found, you need to go and look for the tangent line. If, for example, this point were not given to you, I'll give you a short example of tangent lines, how you can find this value.